Hey guys, we're here today at the Symphony 7 Property Hub, and today we're having a conversation with Mackie from P&B Law, Cynthia Peretz from Metrolinx Property, and Maria Robinson, who's our mortgage broker. Now, can I get you, Chris, to start us off? We've been having some really interesting discussions about what's going on out there in this wonderful world of property, and specifically when it comes to people who have previously bought off the plan properties, but they haven't settled yet. Can you just talk us a little bit about what you're seeing out there in the market?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. Look, we're seeing a fair bit of movement, and that movement comes from either people who are committed under contracts that they might not like to be committed to anymore. So essentially, things have changed with everyone, and now our financial or our personal circumstances mean that we've committed to a future obligation we might like to revisit and see if we couldn't move a little bit, or perhaps even get rid of altogether. And we're also seeing quite a bit of some people that are seeing opportunity. So they say, well, we know some people are looking to get out of some things. We know that there might be some good deals on the table in the market. So essentially, we're willing to have a bit of a look to see what's out there and do a bit of prospecting. And so I suppose really what I'm interested in is people coming and having a chat to me about that. So if you're looking to go out there and do some deals, let's have a chat about what it is we're actually buying and what are some risks and rewards that we should be considering. And if we're looking on the other side of the fence, which is we've had some things change and we might like to revisit what our contractual obligations are, come and sit down and have a chat with me. We'll go through your paperwork. We'll have a look at what your options might be. We'll think about some things that haven't been considered, and at least you'll be able to come away from any discussion with your options laid out in front of you. So it might not necessarily, you might not like all those options, and it might not be the perfect solution, but there will be options there. You just need to come and have a chat with someone like Lindsay or Jesse Sharp or myself.
Thanks, Chris. And I think the key here is that, people's circumstances are changing. So with that, sometimes we need to review and look into it. Maria, let's go over to you for a second here. Now, there's a lot of information out there about, valuations and mortgages. When people have bought off the plan, no one knew COVID was going to hit. What's the impact been, and how are things looking?
According to CoreLogic, about 51% of properties that were bought off the plan are currently undervaluing. So that's a fair chunk, and it's a lot more than what was previously the case. What happens is that the banks will not use the purchase price in those instances. They won't use the purchase price to work out the loan to value ratio. They will use the valuation. So if you buy a property at, say, $700,000 and you need to borrow 90% of that, if the valuation comes in at $600,000, you can only borrow 90% of that $600,000. And if people don't have significant savings behind them to be able to make up that shortfall, then unfortunately they can't meet their obligations under the purchase contract. And in those instances, that's when, Chris becomes invaluable in the process, because he can provide legal advice as to, whether they can get out of the contract or not. But it's one of the challenges when buying off the plan. If you're due to settle on that property in 2 or 3 years' time, or even 12 months' time, no one knows what their circumstances will be at that time. And lending is based on what the circumstances are close to settlement.
It's crazy because no one would have predicted the current world we're in. So very, very tricky. Now, Cynthia, over to you. You're speaking to lots of buyers and you're out looking at properties and seeing the sentiment out in the marketplace. Can you just tell us a little bit about what are you seeing in terms of trends of people buying off the plan and buying new builds?
I have been offered several contracts or purchases that people can't settle on. One of the biggest things is when somebody buys a property lawyer has to read the contract, because you never know what's going to happen. So whether it's an off-the-plan property or the house next door, there are little issues. I just did one where there were 2 body corporates. So if the lawyer doesn't read the contract, the everyday person's not going to understand. So it is a very tricky thing from both the finance point of view and the legal. So I am seeing it. And I think it's not only from a property advocate, but I think it's important then to get a property lawyer in to make sure that if somebody does want it, like somebody might want to take over somebody's contract if the property is going to be settling soon. You know, so instead of waiting 2 years, they might be waiting 1 month or even shorter, but to make sure that there are no loopholes in the contract if they want to go ahead.
Thanks, guys. Really interesting conversation and really helps people understand when it comes to buying and thinking about off the plan properties and properties that are settling far into the future, what to think about. Thank you.